When a person looks you in the eye and tells you that their past does not matter, your brain is wired to want to believe them. We are naturally built to look for peace, to hope for the best in people, and to give the benefit of the doubt to someone we care about. But in the realm of human relationships, history is rarely just history. It is the blueprint of a person's habits, their emotional coping mechanisms, and their true character when nobody is watching. There is a subtle psychological phenomenon that happens when someone tries to completely erase their history. They are not asking for forgiveness, and they are not asking for a fresh start. What they are actually asking for is a free pass from accountability. When a partner insists that the things they did yesterday have zero bearing on who they are today, they are attempting to rewrite the fundamental rules of human psychology. Take the phrase, "My past is in the past. I am a changed person now." On the surface, it sounds like growth. It sounds like maturity. But psychology tells us that genuine change requires deep self-reflection, discomfort, and ownership. When someone uses this phrase as a shield to shut down honest conversations, the underlying message is vastly different. It often means they have engaged in patterns of behavior that would deeply disrupt your trust if you knew the full truth, but they need you to ignore those red flags so they can secure stability with you today. Real change is visible through consistent action over time, not through aggressive demands that you stop asking questions. Consider another common declaration. My ex was abusive, toxic, and obsessed with me. It is a narrative designed to evoke immediate sympathy and trigger your natural protective instincts. But behavioral researchers know that when someone paints every single person from their past as a villain, a dangerous cognitive bias is at play. It is called external locus of control. By framing every failed dynamic as entirely the other person's fault, they effectively insulate themselves from scrutiny. The quiet truth beneath this claim is often that they were a primary source of the chaos, but by claiming the victim role early on, they ensure you will never question why their history is a trail of broken promises and explosive endings. Then comes the classic minimization. I have only been with a few people. Social dynamics show us that when individuals feel that their choices carry a social penalty or lower their perceived value in a serious relationship, they resort to strategic downplaying. It is a protective measure against judgment. But when a person feels the need to fabricate or heavily edit their numbers right out of the gate, it reveals something far deeper than just a number. It reveals a willingness to establish a relationship on a foundation of calculated deception. If someone will manipulate small details to manage your perception of them, they will manipulate larger details when the stakes are much higher. You will also hear, "I didn't cheat. We were already broken up." This is a masterclass in semantic evasion. Relationship therapists recognize this as monkey branching, the act of securing a new emotional or physical attachment before fully severing the previous one. Instead of owning the disloyalty or the inability to be alone, they twist the timeline of events. They hide behind technicalities to avoid facing the reality that they lacked the respect and courage to end one chapter before opening the next. Perhaps one of the most revealing statements someone can make is, "I used to be wild, but that was just a phase." Behavioral psychology demonstrates that past behavior is the single best predictor of future behavior, especially under stress. When someone dismisses years of reckless or impulsive choices as a mere phase, they are attempting to distance themselves from their own core patterns without doing the hard internal work required to change them. What this often translates to is a desire for you to provide the order, security, and emotional labor to clean up the aftermath of their choices, while they offer nothing in return except the promise that they are done being reckless. Then there is the subtle deflection. "I don't talk to my ex anymore." It sounds like a boundary, but actions frequently tell a different story. Emotional attachment does not disappear simply because someone utters a convenient sentence. In many cases, unhealed ties and lingering communication remain just beneath the surface. The statement is often used to grant a false sense of security while keeping a backup option alive in the background, waiting for the first sign of friction in your relationship to resurface. When numbers and choices come up, you might hear, "My past choices don't matter, only my love for you does." This statement relies on emotional manipulation to override logical evaluation. It asks you to treat love as an abstract emotion completely detached from lifestyle, boundaries, and long-term compatibility. But real love is not an isolated feeling that exists in a vacuum. It is demonstrated through character, respect, and history. Dismissing past choices as irrelevant is simply an attempt to position you as a financial or emotional safety net after they have exhausted other options. Another defensive maneuver is, I was young and I didn't know what I was doing. Youth brings context, but it does not erase the fundamental choices made during those years. When used repeatedly as an excuse, it signals an inability to swallow hard truths. It means the person knew precisely what they were doing at the time, enjoyed the immediate gratification, but now resents having to face the long-term consequences of those decisions when trying to build a serious future. You will also encounter the demand, you should accept me for who I am today, not my past. This plays directly on your desire to be seen as non-judgmental and open-minded. But there is a distinct difference between accepting someone's humanity and blindly ignoring a pattern of self-sabotage. Demanding unconditional acceptance while hiding behind a history of poor choices is a tactic to force high-value partners into abandoning their own standards and boundaries. And finally, perhaps the most dangerous line of all, you're the only one who truly understands me. It feels intimate. It feels flattering. It makes you feel chosen. But in psychology, this is often the groundwork for trauma bonding and hyperdependence. By isolating you as the sole person capable of understanding them, they create a false dynamic where you feel responsible for their emotional well-being. It encourages you to ignore every warning sign, excuse every toxic behavior, and remain attached out of a manufactured sense of obligation. Navigating human relationships is not about hunting for perfection, nor is it about holding people to impossible standards. It is about acute observation and self-preservation. People reveal who they are not through the polished stories they tell about their past, but through the accountability they take for it today. When you learn to listen to the psychological truth behind the words people use, you stop falling for convenient narratives and start seeing reality clearly. True strength in a partner is not found in someone who demands you ignore their history, but in someone who owns their journey, respects your standards, and demonstrates their worth through quiet, consistent alignment every single day.